Yo, how insane, like, is this MMA world where you can be the guy that just knocks someone out with a kick, but anyone can just get caught or just...
It's a tough...
You go into the next fight, and then now you have Sluggo on top of you. You have someone earning a nickname on you. Like, that's insane. I never want to get my ass whooped so bad that the guy now gets a nickname from it.
You ever feel like we could be living differently?
Just have a few, just learn how to control it. I'm like... I fucking can't.
Welcome to the Any Last Words Pod. My name is Earl Lonnie Hooks. A very special thanks to everybody that will be joining us today on SoundCloud, Spotify, Apple, as well as YouTube. And please do not forget to follow us at ALW Pod on Instagram. The God in me honors the God in each and every one of you. Today, Chris Sluggo Hayes is in the house. What's poppin', man?
Mike even gave you the nickname, huh?
Oh, well, I mean, not only do they just, when I'm around those group of people, Miss Robin, T, all those people, like, do they just say, oh, Sluggo? Like, whenever he's talking to me about you and he's just giving me some game, like, yeah, he's intense. He's a more intense version of Blaze, that whole thing. And she was just like, oh, Sluggo? So, I did actually just see a post of yours. So, obvious question, let's go ahead and get this out of the way. Sluggo.
Sluggo, yes. So, and it's funny too because the gym is the only place that's my nickname. I forget sometimes.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, that's my nickname. So Sluggo came back in 2009. I signed up for an MMA fight.
Put this in perspective. 2009, I graduated from high school.
Okay. I wasn't much older than you. I was 24.
Okay.
So, yeah, I signed up for this MMA fight. I've been training. I think I started jiu-jitsu late 2007, so I trained for 2 years or so, signed up for this fight, had this great game plan going in. My coach Doug, who owns Vanguard, says, let's go in there, use a combination to set up a takedown, take him down, submit him.
Mm-hmm.
Roger that, coach. I go in, hit the dude a couple times, he covers up, and I just keep, it was like a barroom brawl. There was no game plan, completely out the window. So I hit him a couple times, throw a few knees. Finally, dude falls down, and I'm just on top of him. Boom, boom, boom. Break my hand.
Damn.
Fight's over. I won the fight. Didn't know my hand was broken until afterwards. I was like, oh, damn, that hurt.
Adrenaline works that way, right?
Yeah. So, anyway, game plan abandoned. Your new nickname is Sluggo. Nice job.
Damn.
It was pretty bad. I had to get surgery on it.
Holy. Yeah. Oh, yeah. I see that scar right there. Yeah.
They had to cut it open, replace my knuckle, put pins in it. It was kind of a disaster.
Did you continue fighting after that?
No, I didn't. I had actually stopped training for a while after that. I got into some DUI, bro.
Okay.
Yeah. So I stopped training for a while, for maybe 3 or 4 years. And then came back to the gym and just stuck with jiu-jitsu. At that point, I was like, that MMA ship has sailed. I'm getting older, got kids. Need every brain cell I still have. So.
Yeah, you gotta you gotta start changing things up. So jiu-jitsu is just a whole lot more, what would you say?
Less injury. I mean, no brain injury whatsoever in jiu-jitsu. There's injuries, but you're not getting hit in the head. You're not taking that constant sparring damage.
And how do you know how this gentleman turned out?
He was alright. Yeah, I don't know that he ever fought again. Like, you can look up amateur records, and I looked to see if he never fought again after that either.
Yo! Yeah. But you never saw or spoke to him again?
No, he was from Pennsylvania. He really had a long ride home.
He never fought again.
I don't think he did. He was 1-0 going into that fight. He knocked his first opponent out with a head kick.
Okay, so he was on a high. He thought,
And I watched his YouTube fight 37 times. Like, when I found out who I was fighting. And then the next day, he must have seen his views go up, and he took the video down before he fought. He was like, I'm not letting this guy study me.
Yo, how insane, is this MMA world where you can be the guy that just knocks someone out with a kick, but anyone can just get caught or just...
It's a tough...
You go into the next fight, and then now you have Sluggo on top of you. You have someone earning a nickname on you. That's insane. I never want to get my ass whipped so bad that the guy now gets a nickname from it.
Yeah. Yeah, I watch it nowadays, and I just don't know how guys do it.
Do you have that video?
It's on YouTube.
Oh,
we can watch it after the podcast if you want.
Oh, I'm plugging that. I'm putting that video in the description. 1,000%.
Here's the problem. Since my name's Chris Hayes, if you type in Chris Hayes on YouTube, that MSNBC reporter it just floods with his shit. You got to really dig to find my video.
There has to be like a tag or something that you can like specifically find that video.
Yeah.
There's got to be like what do you know? Like who posted it?
I did.
Okay, so it is under Chris Hayes.
I think C Hayes 1104 same as
Okay, yeah. We're gonna put that in there, like the actual link to the video in the description.
It's pretty funny. There's no technique, and I have been training jiu-jitsu hard 7 days a week for 2 years.
And this was age 24. So I made
it a bar fight.
Yeah, at the age of 24.
Like, dude, what have we been training? That is not it. You're a sluggo now.
Okay, and you had been training for 2 years at that point.
Yeah.
Why did you go into it, do you think? Like, do you remember?
Man, I remember just watching The Ultimate Fighter Season 3. And I was like, this is freaking amazing. But even as a little kid, like I remember when the UFC first started, UFC 1, I was maybe 8 or 9 years old. And it was pay-per-view. Yeah. I was like, Dad, we have to order that. We have to. He was like, we're not watching that. Stop.
Yeah, I was about to say, it was frowned upon when it first came, right? Because it was like human cockfighting. Like people looked at it like, what? This is the Coliseum. What are we doing again?
Yeah.
Right.
Not a lot of rules. I think basically no eye gouging and no... grabbing the nuts.
No throat gouging, no eye gouging. It. Oh my God.
Yeah, so the sport's come a long way.
Yeah, so. I bet. Regulations have had to, especially when you start talking about like CTE and well, actually, no, that doesn't even, like, there's nothing against,
I don't know what
you can elbow people in the top of the crown and stuff like that.
So the rule is, they call it the headphone rule. If you're wearing headphones, you can elbow them anywhere in front of the head.
Understood.
So you can't, no shots to the back of the head still. Okay. And I think the UFC, boxing, all the combat sports, each state has their own regulations as far as what their protocol is after a fight. Like how many, if you suffer concussion in a fight, like Nevada, make sure that you're not even allowed to train for X amount of days. So there's protocol, but it's still not safe.
It's
just not great for the brain.
Yeah, for sure.
It's not as bad as football, but or boxing.
Really?
Yeah.
Because it's just constant headshot after headshot. Yeah.
Like a UFC fight is at the most 25 minutes. A 5-round main event fight, 5 minutes apiece for the rounds. Right. 25 minutes is the most you're looking at. Whereas
there's a good chance there's a lot of grappling involved.
A lot of grappling. Yep. Yeah. A lot of tying up. Like they don't separate you.
Mm-hmm.
Most of the time when you're tied up, you're just getting hit way more in boxing.
And then football, just constant.
And football is like, I don't know, it's like being in a car wreck sometimes.
Yeah.
With the impact.
Yeah, I didn't know. I mean, I know when a lot of this came to light, especially when I forget the doctor that came from Africa and shed a bunch of light on it. But when Will Smith did the movie Concussion, which was about that gentleman, then I know the NFL was not happy about that film. And a lot of people had a lot of issue with this. Like, yo, what the fuck are you doing? We're trying to run a business here.
Right.
And now you're telling the world about CTE and the dangers.
But it needs to be talked about.
Right. And so since then, that's when the conversation for me started coming up with, because I grew up with nothing but like athlete friends. Like,
I played football in high school as well.
Right. Yeah. And so you're aware of the culture, right? The get the fuck up and get back out there culture of it. And so I didn't know that a lot of my friends were just seeing stars all the time. And they're just telling me, oh yeah, like that was just a way of life. Like you didn't, if your body can move, you just, you get back up. There were whole plays. I didn't remember what happened. It was just like my body took over and just did what I was supposed to do. I wasn't even there.
Yeah.
And I was like, whoa.
Yep. Yeah.
Like just complete autopilot.
Yeah.
That's crazy to me. Now I've never blacked out. Alcohol, fighting, nothing. Like I've never just been gone.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah. So I don't even know what that's like.
I've never been knocked unconscious. I've been put to sleep before.
Okay. What's that like?
So being put to sleep is a really weird, strange feeling because it's almost euphoric when you wake up. And it feels like you've been asleep it feels like you took a nap.
Yeah.
And you may have only been out for 7 or 8 seconds.
Right.
And
that's dangerous.
You have dreams. Even when you're only out for a short amount of time. You'll have a short dream. You wake up, and just like waking up, like, what the fuck just happened? Where am I? So, funny story. There's a girl at our gym who's a brown belt in jiu-jitsu.
Okay.
Right? And
how far up is that? Where is brown?
Next one's black.
Gotcha.
Right? So there's 5 belts. White, blue, purple, brown, black.
Gotcha.
This girl's a brown belt. Her name's Kate. She's a beast. Really good. And I'm in what's called half guard of hers, where basically she's got one of my legs trapped with her legs, and she's got me in what's called a guillotine choke.
Yeah.
You're not supposed to get submitted with a guillotine and half guard. I passed a side control, which is even more safe. I'm like, I'm good here. And I'm not like being stubborn, like, I'm going to tap into a girl.
Right.
I'm not doing that.
Yeah.
I know that in side control, I'm safe. She managed to get her forearm, and whatever she did on both carotids, I'm out.
Dang.
I wake up, I look at one of my coaches, and he's just hysterically laughing. I'm like, I'm looking around, I'm like, what the fuck just happened? Like, Kate put you to sleep, bro. And it turns out there's another guy at the gym that she did the exact same thing to. So, yeah, she knew how to apply this choke from positions that you don't normally get this choke
That's
from.
the beauty of and that's probably, I guess, what you saw as a kid, and then maybe growing up. I mean, well, as a kid, you probably just saw, oh shit.
I just saw the brutality.
Yeah, exactly.
To me.
But then more, and then more and more as you get older, you start to see the beauty of just how malleable everything is. Like, there's just always a move. There's always a slip.
Yes.
Yeah, that's what's crazy to me. That's why I like to watch Israel Adesanya.
Yeah, that's fucking nuts.
It's just, I've never seen someone move like water before.
Yeah.
I've never just seen the fluidity of just a body, the way that, and it just how calculated at the same time, but still just moving like water. I've never seen that before.
And the quickness of everything. Like, it's jiu-jitsu. People compare it to chess, like human chess, but to me, it's more than that. Like,
do you play chess?
I haven't in years.
Okay.
I forget.
But you completely understand the mechanics of the game.
Kind of.
Okay.
Yeah, it's been a long time. But the comparison that I like better is people compare it to learning a new language.
Got you.
Right.
That's a good one.
Yeah.
That's a good one, because I do know what that's like. So that is, that's deep. It's
Which I haven't even gotten into learning a new language.
It's like learning a new language.
I just know the duration of white belt to black belt.
Yeah.
I mean, it takes people sometimes 10, 12 years. You know? So it's difficult. It's what's the word I'm looking for? I don't know. There's just a lot that goes into it. And even as a black belt, it's not like once you get your black belt, all right, you're done learning. Like, you just, the sport keeps evolving. You got to evolve with the sport. It's nuts, man. It just never ends.
Yeah.
It's a never ending.
Well, that's good. I mean, I think that's kind of what it is in any field, right? Like, you get to this place where you feel like maybe you're a master, you're extremely proficient in it, however it is that you're deemed or you're titled within that respective field. But then you just start to find like these little nuances, these little Zen pieces that make it a little bit, more whole as you go along.
Yeah.
So I think that's kind of what it is. Now, between you saying that you connected to the brutality of it as a kid and you becoming Chris Sluggo Hayes on top of this guy, and then you also going through some DUIs, was there like a time where you just dealing with a lot of anger? Like, what's going on? And what do you do to get that out now? Is that just gym work now?
My wife and I both quit drinking 5 years ago.
Okay.
So we got rid of that.
Okay.
So now there's still an intense person.
Yeah.
But now I just have the wherewithal to direct it somewhere. And to use it in a
constructive. Much more.
Yeah.
All right. And what was the moment? There's probably a series of moments, but what was the moment where it really occurred to you, okay, I should put the bottle down?
I don't know that it was one thing.
Okay.
My wife and I, we got in a fight one night and we were just like, what the fuck are we doing? Like,
okay,
what are we doing? Why are we doing this? We got to stop doing this. Like, we're so much better when we're sober, and we'll go 10 or 12 drunken nights,
right,
and be good,
right.
But then there's always one that we wake up and look at each other like, what the fuck? Why?
Yeah,
why? It's not worth it,
right?
So we decided together, like,
that's awesome.
You know,
that's awesome.
Every mistake we've made in our life probably had alcohol related to it,
right?
In some way, shape, or form.
Yeah. So like,
why don't we give it up and see how it goes?
Just try it out. Just see what happens.
Yeah. So, and
a little science experiment here.
And life's been fucking great since we stopped, man. It really has.
I love that story because I've been having that conversation with people. I just got done having that conversation with someone last night because it's just now entering their consciousness that there could be a life without alcohol and drugs.
Yeah, it's not easy.
Yeah, like it's just now. They're like, I just started having this conversation, and then I heard you say that you're not doing it anymore. Mm-hmm. And then they start picking my brain. Why aren't you doing it anymore?
Yeah.
Like, what did you figure out? And so I completely connect with everything you just said. One, there are a lot of stories that we kind of have told ourselves about these things. So I've been a huge weed smoker. I've been a drinker. I've done a lot of things. So when it comes to smoking, let me do marijuana first. You can knock out, go straight to sleep. So that's something that you kind of tell yourself, like, oh, well, shit, I'm going to use it for insomnia or variances of insomnia. Maybe I'll just have a hard time going to sleep so I can just knock out. But then I do a little bit of research and I hear this doctor say that you're not going through proper REM sleep when you smoke weed and go to sleep. So which is why you always kind of get up and you knocked out. You weren't really dreaming. And that's why you just remember waking up the next morning and you kind of still feel a little groggy. Like your mind doesn't feel completely revitalized.
Right.
And that is exactly why. So that's one thing. So it's like you think that you're getting great sleep because you just remember knocking the fuck out and then waking up. But your brain's not actually resting in the proper process.
I think the similar thing happens with alcohol too. I don't think you get as good sleep as you think you do when you drink.
Right. Yeah. Cause that's another, you knock out.
Yeah.
You wake up. All right. I guess we're here again.
Let's drink again.
But then as you probably realize, sober sleep, just working out and, exerting energy throughout the day, whatever it is you do, you work out, maybe read a book, whatever it is you do to exert yourself. And then you're just naturally tired and you go to sleep and you wake up. It's like, oh,
that's different.
That might feel like the sleep that you get when you get put to sleep in a chokehold.
Yeah, maybe.
You know what I mean? You might feel that sort of, revitalization when you wake up. Continuing on, I've been more so adopting this idea of doing what is meaningful, not what is expedient. So I think a lot of what we do is quick fixes. Like, what can I do to get what I'm looking for right this moment?
Yeah.
Instead of adopting a series of practices that would allow me to now have this thing. And like you said, that 10 or 12 years it takes for someone to move from white to black belt, that sense of accomplishment must feel amazing.
Yeah. And I think a lot of, going back to what you said about things being expedient, I think learning... when you decide you're going to start doing something new, you gotta, one thing that I've kind of learned over the years is that you gotta embrace the process. Like enjoy the instead of doing something just for the end result, you gotta learn to enjoy the entire process. And I
feel that.
Yeah. I've enjoyed that new mindset with jiu-jitsu, with CrossFit, with the new job that I've taken on. Like, just enjoy everything from start to, you can call it finish, but
right, yeah.
But just enjoy the process. It makes it better. Like, you're not just focused on getting to the end.
Yeah,
if you're enjoying the whole ride.
Yeah, exactly. I think that is kind of the thing, right? I mean, that's life, right? You have to be trying to enjoy every day of it and realizing that there's beauty in the struggle, and that's where all the hard earned, like real meat and gristle are coming from.
Enjoying the struggle's huge, man. And this is a little off topic, but that's one thing I love about CrossFit and our gym is that I think especially in a group setting, like you can go to a gym and work out for an hour and a half and not at like a place like Gold's, or not to throw Gold.
Yeah, for sure.
A gym like that and not talk to anybody and just work out. Like, but when you're in a group setting and at my gym, you struggle together, and I think struggling together helps you form relationships and get tight with people. That's what I love about our gym, man.
Yeah, that's what I was saying to Blaze. I was like, I think that is that is the difference that I see between the gyms.
Yeah,
is the fact that there is that camaraderie, that sense of communion and fellowship. Mm-hmm. And if it wasn't that, then I wouldn't know exactly what it is. But I think that that's exactly
what it comes from, doing shitty things together.
Yeah,
there's something to that. I think even not in a gym setting, like my dad. He's the oldest of 7, and they had a rough childhood growing up. They struggled together. They're all still tight as shit.
Yeah.
You know, my dad's in his he's in the back half of his 50s, and he's still tight with all 6 of his brothers and sisters. Yeah. Because they grew up struggling.
Yeah, you learn a lot about yourself and other people when you have to be put through intense struggle.
Yeah.
Day in and day out. Yeah, for sure. Yeah. But I think that builds something in you. That builds like an iron core. Mm-hmm. Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, I agree.
An adamantine core. So going back to the whole, inebriation and all that sort of stuff. I've also just figured out that I like myself more.
Yeah.
With I'm completely, I guess I do is also this thing where you fool yourself into thinking that maybe you're like a cooler or chiller more version of yourself when you do these things. And if you do it enough, you'll start to think, I'm thinking of some lyrics by The Weeknd where he said, like, when I'm fucked up, that's the real me. You know what I mean? Yeah, like you get yourself so caught up in this groove where you think, this is who I really am.
Yeah.
When I'm, whatever it is that you're doing.
Yeah. If you're fucked up more than you're not, you start to think that's.
Yeah, exactly. It's like a really weird pathological groove.
It's hard. Like, I don't know if when you're banged up like that, if that's who you really, it may be an amplified version of who you are. Sometimes. And
it also just may be, what's interesting because people say, well, that's you without your inhibitions, right? But that's now putting a negative light on inhibitions.
Yeah.
Like that, you know what I mean? Yeah. That's not necessarily say that those filters shouldn't be there.
Right. Because the filters you have when you're sober are part of who you are.
They are. And they are paramount to survival and self-preservation. Like it's like you
paramount to survival.
It is paramount. You can't go through life just with no filters. Yeah. Just thinking everything's going to be okay. And it's like, well, this is the real me, so fucking deal with it. It's like, no, you're going to have to deal with the ramifications of walking through this life thinking that there are no rules, regulations, boundaries, parameters for how you're going to behave and conduct yourself around other people. Because this isn't your world.
Right.
Yeah. So it gets a little deep, but that's kind of what I'm walking away with when I have these conversations with people. I've been that person, so I don't heavily, I don't condemn. I was going to say I don't judge. I do judge. Judge it still also isn't a negative thing, but I don't condemn people that end up in these things because I've been a part of this. I completely understand why people get caught up doing these things. But I would say that it is worth thinking about why you're doing the thing. At least think about it. When you go out, you're at a restaurant with someone, do you just order a drink because going out is synonymous with getting a drink? Like, why are you getting the drink?
Right.
You know what I mean? Just being a little bit more, having a bit more intention behind the things you're doing and just making sure that you're not just set in a pattern that was just made for you or that you just got stuck in and you just do it. You're just caught in the matrix.
It was, man. It was almost like autopilot, like Thursday, Friday, Saturday.
Yeah.
Like,
right. Because those are the days, right?
Not even hitting the grocery store on the way home from work Thursday, grabbing a few cases of beer. Like it was autopilot.
Right.
And it was that way for the last
a few cases too. What were you knocking down? What was your drink of choice?
Bud Light.
Oh, just regular. You didn't need nothing crazy.
If I drank liquor, it'd be Jameson.
Okay.
Okay.
You're just having
it's so hard to.
You having a montage of just
like it's and what's funny too is like I could be an impulsive person. I still am. Mm-hmm. Even quitting drinking was an impulsive decision.
Right.
So there was no thought behind it. So we didn't even realize how hard it was going to be until after we did it.
Right.
We didn't think about how much of our social life was going to change after we quit drinking. We're a few weeks into it and we're like, it's Friday night, 8:30, we're laying in bed. Like, what the fuck happened?
Right.
A few weeks ago, we were hammered with our friends. Now we're not even, we're not even hanging out with them anymore. My whole family drinks. When I go up to New York to visit family, every party's a big drunk fest, and it's different from. I still enjoy doing it.
Yeah,
but it's different for us now.
I'm going to ask, how is it affecting you? Like emotionally, how have you felt when it comes to your friends?
I wouldn't redo anything.
Okay.
I mean,
did they ever look at you, like your friends, and be like, hey man, come on, man. Like, what are you doing? Like, like, you don't got to get plastered. Just have a few.
Because our friends were around us enough to know why we quit drinking.
Okay.
Especially me. Like, I grew up pretty much with the same friends that I had from when I started drinking until when I quit. Mm-hmm. So it was no surprise.
Okay, so they've been supportive of it. Like, it was never like a thing. Okay, they never try to like bring you back into it. Like, okay, well that's awesome. Those are good friends.
No, they are.
Yeah.
So, but social life changed, family life changed a little bit. Still close with everybody, but just a different dynamic now.
Okay. No one ever tried to make you like guilt trip you or make you feel as though you were being on some like moral high horse?
No, nothing like that. There were, people would be like, you can't just have a few, just don't drink so much.
Right.
And I could see where they were coming from because they enjoyed hanging out, especially if we were having a good time. Like, we could be fun drunks.
Yeah.
People would say, just have a few, just learn how to control it. And I'm like, I fucking can't.
Like, that's the whole point.
5 beers and it, like, that fire starts burning. Yeah. And I'm like, the fire ain't fucking big enough. This fire can get way bigger.
Right, yeah,
We're going to make it get bigger. Yeah. There's plenty of wood to burn. Let's burn it. And I couldn't get myself out of that. No, I just... If I drank 5 beers and there were 18 more,
it's like, well, listen, it's like there are 18 more. What are we gonna do?
Sitting there, we're just gonna let them sit there. What are we doing?
I'm just being resourceful. I'm not a wasteful person.
Yeah.
No,
I just zero self-control.
Yeah,
zero self-control when it comes to, especially after a few beers.
Yeah. Okay. So that was my thing, but I loved. You ever done an Adderall?
Yes.
Okay, to focus, to get something done, or it was just...
I've done it to focus, I've done it
to not... Yeah, right. Yes. Yeah, okay. So that was my thing. I love the giddy up and go aspect of it. Like, let's accomplish everything today. Let's talk to this person, that person. I'm going to call this person and have a 5-hour converation with them. I'm going to set this down. I'm going to study. I'm going to read this book. I'm going to run out.
All while still with... You're wherewith,
Oh, yeah, 1,000%.
You don't lose any...
No, not one bit. And so it was up to the point. So now that you know Adderall, I guess you kind of know the dosages, or, the milligrams to some degree.
Really.
Well, let me let you know that you're going to have like 10, which are usually instant releases, meaning you're just getting that pop right then and there. 20 milligram instant releases, as well as I think when you get around that point, you have extended releases, meaning you take this little capsule and then through time you might get like a 5 milligram hit, and then a couple hours later you'll get like another
periodically throughout the day.
Exactly. And so the largest that I've seen that they give are 30 milligram extended releases.
Wow.
It's very, very strong. It'll last you the whole day and then some. You probably won't be getting sleep that night. And there was a point in time in which I was taking 60 milligram, so I was taking 2 in one day of extended release. So I was up for the next couple of days.
Getting all kinds of shit done.
For sure. But then at a point in time, the come down is terrible.
Oh,
it's like, cause you're on such a high, you're flying through the clouds, and then you just drop, and you're just kind of in a state where you're just a vegetable. You're just kind of
there's other drugs that are very, very similar.
Exactly that. I mean, this is a synthetic sort of cocaine. I mean, it is a methamphetamine.
Yeah.
So that's exactly what it is you're ingesting, and it's terrible. It's certainly addictive, and a lot of these substances we're talking about, it wouldn't be so bad if they were just what they were in and of themselves, and you didn't start picking up other bad habits subsequently, as consequence to that. So I would do that. I would not be going to the gym because it wasn't like a gym thing for me. Like I want to do things with my mind more so than my body.
Yeah.
So I'm not going to the gym. I'm clearly not sleeping. Curbs your appetite. So I'm not eating correctly throughout the day. What else am I doing? I'm drinking Red Bulls to also try to amplify the 60 milligrams of Adderall that I've already taken. And on top of that, someone that I've never enjoyed the smell, the taste, the act of smoking a cigarette, craved it in my heart, in my soul, needed a cigarette. And so I would blow them down. I'm talking about I could knock out, get ready, 2 packs in a day.
Damn.
By myself.
Wow.
Like I would just smoke them back to back or whatever. And it's like all this domino effect was insane.
Mm-hmm.
And I was treating my body like complete trash. There was no temple here whatsoever. Yeah. Like this temple had graffiti all over it. I was TPing it, knocking bricks out from underneath. Like it was absolutely insane.
Do you think that Adderall intensified the nicotine addiction?
Oh, well, again, there was no. So what do you mean exactly? Because there was no nicotine. Like I didn't like nicotine beforehand. Like even like when I came down from Adderall, like I'm looking at the cigarette box, like, oh, get that shit away from me. Yeah, like I wouldn't even touch it if I wasn't physically on it that day. Yeah, is what I mean. I would have to pop one, and then an hour later, wear the cigarettes.
Wow.
Yeah, like it was like that. It was a very, very interesting.
That's weird.
It was wildly toxic. Having said all that, I then started to build these practices, right? This yoga, exercise, mindfulness, meditation, all these different types of things. And I realized, because then I decided I was going to try Adderall again after a long time of doing these practices. And then when I took the Adderall, nothing changed.
Yeah.
Nothing
Did you
happened.
think after doing all that, I can do it this time and I'll be able to control it?
So when I say nothing changed, I mean I took the Adderall and that hit, right, that I had always been looking for, that hyper focus and all of that, I was already there, is what I'm saying. So I had already achieved what the Adderall used to give me. So there was no change in consciousness. I was like, oh, well, guess I don't need this anymore.
Yeah, I can do this healthily.
Exactly. I decided to drop this and then adopt a new variety of practices that do achieve this, but they take time. Like that black belt, they just take time, and it's more meaningful, but it's not expedient. And that's the whole point there.
Yeah,
is it just meant everything to be able to get to a place. It's like, okay, now I can do this healthily. That's an awesome alternative.
Yeah.
And I don't think that a lot of times we even know that there is an alternative to these things when you just get caught up in them. Yeah. So that's kind of where I was going with that. So congratulations to all of us.
Yeah.
For putting all these things to the side and taking on a better way of life.
Getting rid of that, all the energy and time that I had to put into alcohol, like.
And the money too.
The money, the recovering, the rebuilding of relationships when there's a fucking fight.
Right. Yeah.
Don't have to do any of that anymore. Now I can take all that energy and focus it somewhere else. Somewhere meaningful, like going to the gym, starting a new career, being a better parent.
Right.
Way healthier relationship with my wife. I mean,
night and day. It doesn't.
Night and day.
Right.
It's not even close. Not even close. And I had some really fun times drinking. I really did.
Yeah. Yeah.
Life, just day-to-day life is so much better now.
Yeah.
Just clear thinking, able to focus on things way better. It's just, I can't even compare it. Like it's not even close.
How do you feel like your relationship with it? So you said you have how many daughters?
I have 3 daughters.
3 daughters, 2 boys.
Yep.
Okay. And
so I had one before my wife and I met. That's our oldest. Okay. 17-year-old. Then she had 2 before we met from her first marriage.
Okay.
And then we have 2 together.
Okay.
So our 2 youngest are 3, and our youngest will be 1 in a few days here.
Yeah. Damn.
Yeah.
Crazy. Okay. So how's your relationship or your parenting, you feel like, altered or amplified or elevated since the drinking quit?
Oh man. Most of it just comes with clear thinking, setting a better example for the kids, stuff like that. Just waking up early on the weekends to do stuff with them rather than sleeping off a fucking hangover. you know?
Yeah. That's definitely a big difference for sure.
You know, and our kids were around when we were up till midnight, 1 o'clock, 2 o'clock in the morning drinking a lot of nights. And, you know, I think the fact that they've seen us go through it and seen some of the shitty stuff, and then they've also seen us quit and where we're at now.
Right.
I think that's huge.
Yeah, for sure.
I think it's huge because one of our kids told us, "I'm never drinking," and we're like, "Why?" And we're like, "Because you guys are fucking crazy."
Well, at least it worked that way.
Yeah.
You know, because
I mean,
it
could've gone a lot of worse.
Exactly. It can always go the opposite way.
Yeah.
Like, well, I'm going to try to take care of whatever feeling it is I have from looking at them by continuing the cycle.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So that's cool that they're just like, nope, I'm good. Some people are like that. Some people can look at other people and learn from them. I wasn't that person. I had to bang my head into walls constantly, but my little sister's like that. She looks at other people and she's like, nope, nope, not doing any of that stuff.
That's a virtue.
Yeah, it is. That's a wild thing.
But I think there's something to learning the hard way as well. That can be beneficial in some cases.
Yeah, you don't regret all those times that you had, like you said. Yeah. And like you said, struggling, one by yourself and also struggling with someone, like you said, your father and his brothers had to do. Like it builds, it fortifies. Yeah. It reinforces.
Yeah.
So, yeah, so that's great.
Yeah.
That's great to hear. Okay, and so let's get into this new career.
Okay.
Because I've been interested in this.
All right.
So, what is it, and how did you get into this exactly?
So, what I do now is I film hunters for hunting shows.
Okay. Oh, these are for hunting shows. Specific. Oh,
so,
shit.
And that's not even that's not even why I first got into it. So let's back up. I was the foreman for the security cameras at the Pentagon, the upgrades, the maintenance, the repairs of the security cameras at the Pentagon. And I'd been doing work like that since I was 19 years old. Audio, video work, small electronics work for government contractors.
Okay.
And eventually, like I said, been doing it since I was 19, doing that 66, 95 stop and go fucking traffic every morning, every afternoon. Eventually, I was just like, and this is all after, like, it's recent that, you know, I stopped doing that. But I got to a point in life where, you know, my wife, she started doing what she loves. She's a real estate agent.
Okay.
I was like, babe, I gotta make a change too. I was like, I can't. It's driving me fucking crazy.
Yeah.
It's driving.
It was mostly just the commute that was driving you crazy?
It just wasn't the line of work I was really interested in.
Okay. Why do you think you even got into the electronics?
When I was 19, man, that's when my oldest was born.
Yeah.
So I didn't have a lot of options.
You had to make it work.
My dad hooked me up with a job, and I was like, let's go.
Okay, let's do it. Yep.
So I took it and, you know, kind of ran with it. And I got to a point in my life recently where I was able to safely make a change.
Yeah.
You know, my wife had a killer year with real estate.
Awesome.
So it wasn't like, I'd like to say I took this giant leap of faith.
Yeah. It was like, no, we had some cushion. We
had some cushion. My wife, super supportive. She's supporting all of us right now because I'm still not making a ton.
Hey, that's awesome.
Not even making half of what I was making.
Right.
But she was like, find something you love. Find something you love to do and find a way to make money doing it.
And how old are you now?
I'm 30. I just turned 37.
That's dope. That's dope because I know. This story that you're beginning to tell is not the status quo.
Right.
Right. You start to get older. People are just stuck in these ways, and there's not a leap of faith, and there certainly isn't always this infrastructure built that allows you to be able to springboard and to do a passion project. Yeah. So you're blessed. That's first and foremost. So that's awesome. Yeah. All right. Continue.
Yeah. So she was like, start thinking about things that you love to do and let's find a way for you to make money doing them. And I explored some other things that didn't work out. And, you know, hunting season was right around the corner. She's like, you love hunting? I was like, I do. We were watching a hunting show in bed one night and she was like, why don't you look at being a cameraman or getting into hunting shows somehow, or, you know, that you love doing that, find a way to go after it. I was like, yeah, let me look into filming my own hunts to start. So I started looking at camera gear, started looking, you know, watching YouTube videos. That's what everybody does now when they want to learn something.
Yeah, for sure.
On YouTube.
Yeah, 1,000%.
So
easiest way.
Started looking on YouTube And then I was watching My Outdoor TV, and I just typed in the words "Film the Hunt," and this school popped up called "Film the Hunt." I was like, you gotta be shitting me.
Listen to people, it's this easy. This is how you get into stuff.
I called my wife. I was like, babe, this is gold. There's a school in Ohio. They have a class in June and a class in July. I was like, I gotta go take these classes. So she's like, let's do it.
Yeah.
Let's do it. So I went and took these classes. Doing all this, still working at the Pentagon.
Were they pretty pricey, these classes?
They were pretty pricey. Yeah. They weren't cheap. And the cool thing about these schools too is once you take these classes, everybody in the industry, as far as hunting TV, knows that this school exists.
Oh, okay.
Right? So if they're looking for cameramen, they hit up this school.
Oh, that's awesome.
Who you got?
That's the hub.
Who's your best student? Who are your 3 best students?
Right.
Give me one of them. So the way the school works is there's 4 classes. There's the field production class, which teaches you what to do in the field with the camera, how to film the hunter, how to, follow an animal, all that kind of stuff. Then there's a video editing class.
Oh,
sorry.
That's all right.
Yep.
Yeah, I think that'll be better for you.
So there's a field production class, and then there's a video editing class, and then the next year you take the advanced versions of both of those classes. So I haven't even taken the advanced stuff yet, but I went and took the first 2 classes and then started immediately looking for work.
Yeah.
I was like, let me get to work. I was like, I'll figure it out as I go. I was like, I promise you that I'll work as hard as I'm not going to promise that I'm not going to make mistakes, but give me a chance.
But the work ethic is there.
Yeah.
I'm ready to work.
So, and the guys that run the school knew that they have their own show as well. So they hired me to do a few hunts with them. They recommended me to a few other shows that they do some work for.
So you just made some good connections while you were there. Made good connections,
developed some good relationships, and got my foot in the door.
It's so important, dude. Yeah. It's so important.
And they even said at the school, like, building good relationships is half the battle.
1,000%. Like you just again, you're just also blessed. Oh, firsthand, what we already just spoke about, having the infrastructure, having a supportive wife, being able to, have the wherewithal, the work ethic that you have, but then you just being able to articulate yourself and be as likable and communicative as you are. Yep. That's awesome.
Yeah, you could be a great cameraman, but if you're a fucking douche, nobody. Straight up.
Yeah, 1,000%. I'd much rather. That's it. That's interesting, isn't it? Mm-hmm. It's interesting because it goes across all realms of life. Like, you would much rather have someone that's just a little less talented or skillful than the douchebag.
Right. With somebody with the humility.
Yeah.
That knows, fuck, man, I screwed up, but what can I do better next time? Show me how to fix this. Mm-hmm. Especially when I'm working with the guys that run the school. Like, they know I'm going to screw up. It's 5 months I've been doing this.
Yeah. Do you think you got some humility lessons going through jiu-jitsu and stuff?
Oh, for sure.
Yeah, like that helped out a bit.
Dude, if we want to go back to that, I'll tell you about my first fucking day of jiu-jitsu.
Yeah, do that real quick.
I thought I was the baddest motherfucker alive.
Oh, I love this.
Right?
Yes.
Went in there, white belt, I was like...
Went in there, white belt.
Looking at some of these dudes like, that dude weighs 140 pounds. No way.
Right.
There's no way. Dude choked me 6 times in 5 minutes. Shit you not. And he was a blue belt at the time. He hadn't been doing it that much longer than me. Right. 2 years maybe?
Yeah.
Choked me 6 times in 5 minutes.
Jeez Louise.
I was like, holy shit. That was a quick lesson.
Yo, yeah, being new to it must just be the most, I would find it to just be so aggravating. I mean, this is sort of like a primal state. It's instinctual. Someone's choking you out. You have to feel a way about that.
You definitely do it first.
Yeah, at first. That's what I mean.
At first,
when you're going into it, like, dude, this dude keeps fucking choking me.
Yep.
Like, I'm angry now.
And I can't do shit about it.
Right.
Not a fucking thing. Nothing.
Those are some life lessons.
Yeah.
Those are some life lessons. When life starts choking you, you just can't do anything about it. So what do you do in those moments when you can't do anything about it?
Well, once you set the ego aside.
Yes.
You start with, what can I do next time to maybe not let him get in that position and choke me? Mm-hmm. And if you approach every new thing that you do with that sort of mentality, you learn faster.
Yep.
The humility.
Yeah. I like that. So that is the life lesson.
That's one thing people don't understand. Like, if you don't do jiu-jitsu, people who don't do jiu-jitsu don't understand that. They see it as this savage thing where you're just trying to choke and kill each other.
Yeah.
There's so much life lesson from jiu-jitsu. Like,
Respect, humility.
Setting the ego aside, learning, you know.
Yeah.
It's like people, the funniest thing that people say who don't do jujitsu is, I wouldn't tap out to a choke. I wouldn't go in there and tap out. There's no way. I wouldn't tap out. Like, okay.
All right.
Yeah.
All right.
Roll with Vince and tell me.
Shit.
Let Vince choke you.
Fuck that. Let Vince choke you is insane. No way.
There's some, like, just getting choked is a lot different than being choked when you're already gassed from rolling for 3.5 minutes.
Right.
With a dude who weighs 270 pounds with his knee in your chest. You know, you're going to tap. You're going to tap out.
If you're any sort of smart. Yeah, you definitely.
And then people ask, doesn't it suck when you have to tap out? It's like, yeah, I felt that way at first.
Yeah, at first.
But I've been in this for years, man. Like,
yeah, that's that ego talking again.
Yeah.
And
it still sucks to tap. Like, it still sucks losing always sucks, but.
Right, it's not ideal.
Right.
But if you still, again, adopt that idea of setting your ego to the side and realizing that if you were doing what you were supposed to be doing, you ought to have learned something coming out of it.
And if you don't know what you were supposed to do, then you ask the question of you ask the guy you were rolling with, hey, what'd you do to set that up?
Yeah.
And if he's a senior belt, what could I have done to stop you from setting that up? You know? Yeah. And that's every single day of jiu-jitsu.
Yeah.
Every day is like, there's not a day in the gym that you're not going to get tapped out and learn something if you go in there with the right mindset.
Right. All right. So hop back in. So you made some great connections and
made some good connections.
So the people at the Film Hunt School decided to have you do some of their work as well as put you in contact with some other people.
Correct. Yep.
And then
first job I had was, when was it? Late August, early September. Went out to Kentucky, filmed a whitetail hunt.
Kentucky. You know where in Kentucky? I've only been in one place, but it was awesome. It was Bowling Green, Kentucky.
Yeah,
it wasn't. An hour out from Louisville.
I was south central Kentucky.
Okay.
Yeah, I couldn't even tell you where I was.
Okay.
So that was cool. It was hot. It was different. It was. I've never hunted that early in the season before. So that was cool. That was my first one. Then I went to Colorado after that.
Okay.
That was super cool because that was we were going after elk. That was a way different type of hunting than I've only hunted whitetail.
Yeah. Do you guys ever take and cut these things up, smoke them ever?
I do with whitetail. Yeah.
Yeah. With whitetail.
Yep.
Okay.
Yeah. In fact, I'm probably going to the butcher to pick up a deer. After I leave here. Yeah.
Damn. Yep. Have you ever tried elk though?
Yes, I have.
Oh, okay. Yep. And how was it?
It's good. Okay. It's good. So this year, we're getting off subject again, but this year I've tried a lot of new wild game. I've had moose. I had mule deer, I've had elk, and I've had pronghorn antelope.
Pronghorn and
fastest land mammal in North America.
Damn.
Yeah. That was pretty good too. People shit on it, but the way this guy cooked it was amazing.
Yeah.
But mule deer was actually my favorite. Everybody talks about how great elk is too, but I don't know. Mule deer tasted the best to me.
Okay.
But anyway.
Yeah.
So second trip was to Colorado, went after elk. That one was unsuccessful as far as getting an animal, but successful for me as far as learning experience.
Exactly.
It was a new type of hunt, new animal. I mean, it just wasn't even close to a whitetail. I mean, this was a spot and stalk, walking through. We did 28 miles in 2 days hunting elk. Yeah. So my dogs were barking on that trip. It was fun, man. That was probably my favorite part of it.
Yeah, I was going to ask, what is the most difficult part of this for you?
For me, being away from the family.
Yeah, that's what I thought.
Because hunting's fun.
Yeah.
When you're enjoying that, there's nothing really hard about that. The physical part was rough, but I fucking love it.
Yeah, you're into that. Yeah.
So, not seeing my babies.
Yeah.
You know, that's been the hardest part about the new job altogether is being away.
Yeah, because you're taking some trips. When we had a conversation a couple weeks ago, you were just like, all right, man, I'm here in town. We can get it done, but I'm going to be going in a couple weeks. So what's up?
There was a trip I went on. It was my first one out to Ohio. And while I was in Ohio, somebody called me and said, hey, when you're done with that one, can you come out to Missouri? So I had to call my wife 2 days before I was supposed to come home. And I was like, it's going to be another week or so.
Right.
So,
dang, man. Yeah. But you're doing it.
Yep. she's doing it too. She's a gangster, man. She's been cool, supportive throughout the whole process. So, but yeah. So Colorado, I've been to Colorado twice. So we went Kentucky, Colorado. Where did I go after that? I think Ohio, Missouri, Ohio, Canada. Canada was cool.
Yeah, what time of year was you in Canada? Like when did that happen?
Canada, I take that back. Canada was actually right after Kentucky.
Okay.
So I went Kentucky, Canada, Colorado.
Okay.
Canada was cool. That was waterfowl. So that was geese and ducks. So that was different too, because I'd only done that once in my life, and it was a slow day the day I did it.
So all right, so the most difficult game that you've seen hunted
Elk
has been the elk.
for sure.
And why so?
I think they're super elusive because they're so sought after.
Did you just eat the pronged antelope? You said that was the quickest one in the Northern America, correct?
That's the fastest.
That's the fastest one.
Yeah.
Okay, but did you just try that?
Just
meat?
tried it. Yeah,
okay,
this wasn't anything that
Okay.
somebody else killed it and cooked it.
Okay, because I was going to say, why wasn't that the most difficult? Okay,
yeah, no. So all the animals I've eaten, all the new animals I've eaten, the mule deer was the only one that was killed by the person that provided it for me.
Understood.
Does that make sense?
Yeah.
The moose, this one's funny. The moose I had in Canada, one of the guys that worked at the outfitter I was at hit the moose with his car.
Oh.
Yeah. But totally, obviously, by accident.
Yeah.
But they just... Right? Yeah, he wasn't hunting.
That wasn't his method. You're right, exactly.
No, so he hit a cow moose with his car, and they're like, I'm not going to let it rot here on the side of the road. We'll salvage the good stuff.
There might be a misconception here. How large is like your average moose?
I don't know. I've never seen one.
Oh, okay.
I haven't seen one yet.
Okay.
But from what I understand, it's like a fucking horse.
Yeah, that's what I thought. Like they're pretty fucking large.
Elk. When I saw an elk for the first time in Colorado, I was amazed. Like you think you have a conception about what they look like
and it's
how
wrong.
big they are. It's way wrong.
It's just off.
They're just they are big animals.
Yikes.
Yeah. It's funny, man. We hunted hard for 4 days. Didn't see an elk. We're driving down the freaking road and there's one eating some lady's tree in her front yard.
Damn.
Come on.
Yeah, and what do you do? Like, as the lady, like, what do?
She
just let it be?
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean,
you're not going to shoo a freaking elk away that's eating your tree. Yeah, man, I took pictures of that. It was hilarious. Hunted hard for 4 days in a row and then saw that.
It's like, wow, really?
Yep.
That's crazy. All right, so I think I also saw a post of yours one time where you were talking about one of your favorite things being out there is some people had put you up? Like
so I went to work for this pretty well-known show on the Outdoor Channel, and they have a spot in Ohio that they hit every year. And the guy that owns that spot, they were going to let him have an episode on their show.
Oh, okay.
Like as a thank you for sure. Allowing them to hunt there. So they hired me to go film him for that.
Oh, very cool.
So they had me to their house, cooked me dinner every night. They were just super cool people. That's one of the coolest things about this new job too is I think we go back to that struggle thing where deer hunting isn't necessarily a struggle, but you're doing something together, trying to achieve a common goal. You know, I'm sitting there with a hunter for 4 hours in a row, 5 mornings in a row, sitting in a tree. Like, that's good bonding time. Like, you get to know people, you know, in a different way doing stuff like that than going to work and installing cameras together. I feel like, you know. It's just different. And that's one of the coolest things I found about this new job is just
installing cameras together. Yeah, I would think so. Yeah. I would think so for anyone that's I mean, I grew up going outside. I know a lot of people that wasn't their thing. I went out, I was going hiking and camping and stuff like that. And then just in the neighborhood, just running around in the woods and just beating yourself the fuck up because you're a young boy running around in the woods. Tire swings and rope swings on the trees and, you know, smashing your head into rocks and stuff like that. That's just what you did. But every time I go out hiking somewhere, every single time, I think, at some point during the hike, why do I not do this more? It feels like I'm rooted here.
Yeah.
I just feel like this is where I'm most grounded is just nothing but the elements. And this is where I feel most comfortable. And so So I imagine when you're just doing that with people, I mean, I've taken hikes with people, but when you're out there doing what you guys are doing for days on end, hours on end, just like hanging out in the grass and shit.
Yeah.
Like
or
that.
In a tree.
Yeah. In a tree somewhere. Yeah. That does have some sort of real
it's way different
bonding
than just
experience.
sitting around watching TV together or,
Yeah.
Even it's like people bond sitting around a campfire, but there's something different to sitting in a tree stand with somebody trying to kill a deer together. Like there's just something to that that's different.
Yeah.
It's fucking cool, man. I love it.
Yeah. Again, I think it's just rooted in what we are as just beings.
Yeah.
Just in the natural world.
There's some evolutionary things.
Exactly.
That,
yeah. Some biological, just waiting for the kill. You know, having, minding all your P's and Q's.
Yep.
Having to be alert. But being together, yeah, for sure. There's definitely something in that. Yeah. That's dope, man.
Yeah.
I really love that you're doing this thing. So you're going out, you're meeting tons of new people and seeing a whole lot. Did you ever think that you would just be seeing as much as you're seeing and meeting?
A few years ago, no way. I thought I was stuck where I was at, and that was going to be it. And yeah, it's just and I hate complaining about my old job.
Okay,
like it sounds like I'm bitching.
Yeah.
There's people that would die for that. That would love to have that job. I just
it just wasn't for you in the long run.
Wasn't for me in the long run. Had a great opportunity. Again, couldn't thank my wife enough. Like, if she wasn't rocking it right now, I never would have been able to do it.
Okay. And so how long have you actually been hunting?
So I started hunting probably 12 years ago.
Oh, yeah, for sure.
So I haven't been doing it my whole life.
Oh, yeah, I saw you with the bow on your Instagram, too.
Yeah.
Yeah, buddy.
That's new for me.
Oh, okay.
The bow's new for me. I didn't start hunting with a compound bow till probably 3 years ago. I still haven't killed anything with it. Bow hunting's a whole different realm.
Yeah, I'm certain of it.
Yeah, it's tough. It's tough. But yeah, there's people that have grown up hunting. Like, that wasn't me. I didn't start doing it till 10 or 12 years ago. So, but I do it a lot. I probably have more hunts under my belt than people that have hunted 15, 20 years. Like, I spend a lot of, once hunting season starts, you can ask my wife. I'm in the woods a lot.
Okay. So now I told you that I've never, not once in my life, fired a firearm.
Yeah, we're gonna have to change that.
So so that's why I brought that up. Like, I'm totally with that. Yeah, Mikey, you're hearing this.
Yep, Mikey, we're going.
Yeah, I'm totally with that.
Yeah.
I'd love to learn about that and see what the fuck is going on out there. Especially by someone that actually like knows what they're doing. And things are gonna be.
I'm not an expert at it, but I'm an expert on the safety.
I'm with that.
Yeah.
That's number one.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah, you don't want to go to the range with somebody that doesn't know what they're doing.
No.
Pointing the gun and not safe direction.
No, I don't want to do that. If I'm going to do something, I want to learn how to do it right. I want to know the correct protocol.
Yeah.
I want to have respect and like reverence for whatever it is that's being done. So I think that's...
Yeah, it's something you can't make mistakes with.
All right. Question I ask everyone here.
Yeah.
Right? So here it is. What is at the forefront of your mind these days? The number one thing that is the concurrent focus.
Do more, do better.
Do more, do better.
Progress.
The
things that are important to you, try and constantly be looking for ways to evolve and do them better, whether it's relationships with your family, career, stuff at the gym, and try not to waste time, because there ain't a lot of it.
Try not to waste time.
And a lot of that mindset, I go back to it, but started after I quit drinking, man. It really did.
Yeah.
Like, I hate to keep harping on that.
No, it's fine.
Just a refocus, man. One of my biggest influencers, he's a podcaster as well, Jocko Willink.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. He's
intense.
Yeah. He's an intense dude. Yeah. I don't know if grown men are supposed to have idols, but that motherfucker's one of my idols, man. He really is. And,
no, he's a good one, though.
Yeah.
Yeah, if there's to be some, he's definitely
Get
on that
After
team.
It is one of my favorite little short quotes.
Yeah,
it's his go-to.
Yeah, he's one of those guys that just wakes up at like 4 o'clock every single morning.
Every morning,
and just starts.
post a picture of his watch at 4:30 a.m.
That's what it is. Yeah,
and he's getting after it.
Damn. Yeah, and he's just jacked. And he's also, what I like about him a lot is that he is, you know, in a sense, what's funny is, and you say that he's an influencer of yours, is that he does sort of remind me of a you. And this is what I mean by that. This is, let me throw this in here. Is that on the surface, because we're always spinning narratives about people that we just see as if we're proficient profilers of some sort, which we're not.
Yeah.
But someone might look at you and think that, I don't know, maybe if they see you at the gym or they catch you at a certain point, maybe you're hunting, maybe you're posting this stuff, that you are a expendable type. You remember those movies like the Arnold Schwarzenegger, Sylvester Stallone, Chuck Norris, fucking all of those guys, you know, Bruce Willis type, where it's just balls to the wall, we're getting shit done, we're blowing things up and shooting at things.
With no thought or
at all, exactly. Like it's just straight action for 2 hours.
Yeah.
And so on the surface, that's what someone may think Jocko Willink is, right? Like he's just this super intense ex-Navy SEAL, correct?
Yeah. Yeah, he was a commander of SEAL Team 3. He was Task Unit Bruiser was Chris Kyle was a guy who worked under him, the movie American Sniper.
Yes. Yeah,
he lost a couple guys in Iraq in his task unit. One of them, Medal of Honor recipient Mikey Mansour, I think, was one of his guys too. So yeah, he's been through it.
Yeah, he's definitely been through it. And so that's what he wears on the surface, or at least that's how people would perceive without a keen eye to anything else. But then you have a conversation such as we're having a conversation, and you start to peel back the layers and understand the things that are going on beneath the surface. And I love him for his leadership.
Yes.
Like, I love the way he talks, because I think it's just he just goes and talks to the top leaders at different corporations and stuff like that and helps them understand how to delegate
leadership
work.
Consultancy.
Yes. That's what it is. Leadership consult. That's dope as fuck. You know how fucking awesome that title is, like to be a leader of leaders.
We solve problems through leadership.
That's dope.
Yep.
Yeah, man, you gotta love that, because there are too many instances where there are leaders at play and you're just looking at them like, how are you the leader here?
Right, and his whole thing is teaching leaders how to not lead with ego.
Yeah,
like setting your ego aside.
Yes,
that's one of the things I've learned over the last few years, listening to his podcast and reading all his books. I need to check my fucking ego sometimes.
In whichever one first comes to your mind, I'm going to read it.
Extreme Ownership is his first one.
Extreme Ownership. Yep. Ooh, shit.
I should have brought it.
Extreme. That's okay. We're going to meet up, and I'll get that.
Yep. Awesome. Extreme Ownership. Then his second one is called The Dichotomy of Leadership. And I think his third one is Leadership, Strategy, and Tactics. They're all about
this fucking guy, man.
Yeah. But most of what he talks about boils down to ego.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah,
and having the humility to know when you're wrong and know when you need to learn, and not letting your ego say, no, I'm doing it right, I don't need to change anything. Everybody else needs to change. Like,
yes.
And that's just a real short
synopsis of it.
Yeah.
For sure. But very apt synopsis of it, though.
Yeah.
Because one, it is important, and that's actually been what's funny, a thread through everything that we've spoken about on this episode so far, is ownership and ego and accountability, all of these sorts of things. And I remember I talk about this clinical psychologist Jordan B. Peterson on here a lot, and he had a conversation with Jocko Willink, I believe on Jocko's podcast, I believe it was.
Yeah.
And they were having a conversation, or it may have been it doesn't matter. But they were having a conversation, and Jocko spoke about how he was an English major. And then when they got into why that was the case, I thought it was just the most awesome shit ever. I love words, and I love the power that they wield.
Yeah.
And when he's talking about reading books and learning how to best draft his thoughts because his thoughts on a letter given to his superiors could be the difference between losing some of his men and saving some of his men, depending upon, how, if he can be persuasive enough to his superior in a completely unegocentric way, clearly, because you can't play that tug of war with your superior. That's not going to work.
No.
So you have to use your words in such an acute way, such a convincing way. It's like, yo, I understand that this is what you want the plan to be. These are the reasons why I feel like it should be altered in this way, that way.
Yep.
And it working.
Here's how we did it wrong in the past. Here's what I'm going to do to fix it in the future.
That is when it makes the most sense ever. Like those stakes are super high.
That's the highest level of it, is saving the guys that work for you, saving their lives.
Bro, can you imagine the pressure when you're writing this letter to your superior?
Yeah.
Like, I got to get this right.
Yeah.
I have to get this right. I have to put everything into this in the best way, shape, form, because I've lost too many already. We can't keep doing this.
Yeah.
That's insane. So I like to, put a light on that, shine a light on that, because through my experience speaking to people, I don't truly feel as though in our culture, whatever you think that is, maybe public school, whatever, we do not revere acuity and precision of words enough because they matter. And there's going to be times where things fall through. There's going to be misunderstandings, no matter how well articulated you are. That's going to kind of happen.
Yeah.
But again, I say this all the time, all boats rise on the same tide. So if we can all just try to be better with active listening to one another and precision with our words, then I think the overall accuracy will rise.
I agree. Yeah, communication's key. How do you, while we're on that, did you listen to Elon Musk when he was on Joe Rogan's podcast?
So there were two, right?
So the one where he's talking about the brain chip that he's trying to sell people on, where you don't even have to communicate with words anymore.
Yes.
How fucking crazy does that sound?
I just spoke about this with my friend JP a few weeks ago. That was confusing to me because, I didn't think that Joe did his due diligence in question asking, because I'm thinking, okay, you're right. You have something that's going on. I don't even know what to call it, but you have some symbols in your mind that read to you what you feel you understand about something. And now you have to distill those into words, right? Symbols, which are words, in a as concise of a manner as possible in order to get the message across to the next person.
Right.
What I'm thinking is, if those words are sort of broken down and you don't have to do that distillation, then what is it exactly that's being communicated?
Right. What kind of language are we using here?
Yeah. Like, do I just feel you?
Yeah.
Yeah. Like that's, yeah. Like I didn't quite understand it, but I still thought that the idea was definitely wild.
Yeah. Yeah, I had the same questions you did. Like, how are we conveying information?
Yeah, without,
because the only way that we know how to do it is with
words.
So, the dude's,
it's mind-boggling.
Yeah,
yeah. I don't quite get it. Yeah. Like I guess maybe I'm feeling the emotions that you're feeling in conjunction with whatever concepts are floating around in your brain, but however that can be formulated without the usage of words.
Maybe his thought is to still use words, but also use words in conjunction with the feelings that go along with those words.
Okay.
Like,
okay. That
the
makes
couch
it
is
more
blue,
sense.
but here's how I feel about
the couch being blue.
Yeah,
that
the whole thing's fucking.
Yeah, the whole thing is fucking insane. Like that's so far into the future, but that's what visionaries are, right? Like it's so far into the future. But then again, it's not even, because he said like 10 years.
Yeah.
He said like 10
That's
years.
Not long at all.
He says these things so flippantly. Like he says them so nonchalantly. Like,
10 years. 10 years.
That's exactly 10 years.
10, 12 years.
Oh, that whole brain chip thing to me is, it's definitely interesting. I mean, certainly extremely, honorable, right? As far as trying to help paraplegics and things of that sort.
Yeah.
Like that's crazy noble. And then once it gets past that, it starts to get freaky. What I proposed to my friend was, he said that at a point in time, we'll be able to just kind of, like, our thoughts and memories and all these are really just downloadable content.
Yeah.
So you should be able to download these things onto a hard drive and upload them somewhere else. Right? Like on a computer or something like that. So you can pretty much take me and copy me, right? You can replicate me and put me somewhere else to a degree.
To a degree, yeah. You can replicate your words. But there's things that a computer is not, that you can't put on a hard drive.
But right. But so when he's talking about memory, right? Because that's a whole lot of who we think that we are. Like what makes us, I don't know if you ever dealt with anybody with Alzheimer's. My grandfather used to have it. So then when people start to lose their memory, that's when the sadness comes, because you're like, well, who are they? They don't remember me.
Right.
Like, so they're not even who they were without all of the content that they have been through in life. Like that kind of makes us who we are in a sense, or the way that we perceive ourselves. So if I can take these memories and the way, in the inflection of your voice, if I have enough recording of your voice, right, and I can just I can put words together and use the inflection of your voice along with the memories that you have, and then I can download them into another brain, into another chip that I put in someone else's brain or computer or the like. Then when that thing starts speaking to someone that lost that person, there's a connection that's going to happen there, because we can talk about the old Christmases that we used to have together, and when, you took me to go hunting for my first time and all this sort of stuff. Yeah. Like that can happen. And so the question that I have is, is the value of a human life going to be a bit compromised if I can seemingly
bring you back to life?
Bring you back to life.
Yeah, that's a good. I never even thought about that. Like the value of human life with all this.
Right, because it's like everything you love from this person, I can preserve it. Yeah, I can keep that. Yeah, it's very free. The future, and he has said this in one of his press runs. He's like, "Listen, guys, the future's going to be freaky. I'm letting you know that right now.
The present's fucking freaky.
The present is freaky. The present is freaky. Yeah." Jeez Louise, man. Fucking Elon Musk.
He tweeted something the other day about paying $11 billion in taxes or something, and Jordan Peterson was like, "Thank you." People are like, "That's the right response."
Wow. Yeah, that is the right response. Thanks. Yep. You didn't have to do that. Yeah. But hey. Yep. Yeah, I'm with that. Because I think it is the redistribution of wealth is something that I've thought about quite heavily. It's not, because I'm not on the side of just heavily tax the fuck out of anyone that's made something of themselves and made some money. I think that we want to incentivize being in a world where people would like to distribute or redistribute wealth that they've earned, right, in productive ways. But then I've also rethought wealth in my years and thought about all the different ways that we have wealth. And so I don't look at things monetarily all the time, right? Like, so,
like he's doing it with science.
Right, exactly. So that's his thing, because when you, as sort of robotic as he can sound sometimes, like when if you get him to talk enough,
there's a heart.
Like he's got a heart. We have to have more compassion. Yep. Like we got it. Like he was just.
I think we need to be more compassionate.
Yeah.
More compassion. Maybe we put compassion in the chip.
Exactly. Exactly. And so for me, and this is also in alignment with Jordan B. Peterson's work, is, listen, the blessings that a lot of us do have it would be best if we can make it justifiable. If people stop pointing at the top 1%, knowing that if you widen the playing field, you're a part of the top 1%. If you widen it to the entire world and human beings throughout history, you are a part of the 1% making $30,000 or more.
Yeah.
Right?
Isn't that crazy when you think about it?
Right. So now you're a part of the problem, are you not? Right? If you're not redistributing wealth or whatever the case is. So his whole work is find a way to, as he says, clean up your room, which is get yourself together first before you think you're about to just go out and just start making changes to the world. It's not how it works.
Right.
Figure yourself out first. And that takes grueling work through years. Yeah. So you figure that out first. And then maybe if you have some reserve left over, you can start being a positive, reinforcement to the people close to you, your family, your friends, and then your community, and so on and so forth. So that redistribution of wealth, I feel like, ought to come from, if you don't have, monetary gain like that, it might be your insight into something.
Yeah. And there's a process that hunters go through that's similar. Like when you first start hunting, your goal is get good at hunting, kill every deer I see, put it in the freezer, right? Then you go through this process of, all right, now I'm going to trophy hunt. Now I just want to kill the biggest deer, most mature deer, and then there's the last step of the process in hunting. And this is kind of where I'm starting to get to, is teaching others how to hunt.
Yeah.
Which I love doing that.
Right.
Yeah. So I've got off on a little bit of
No. That's the same exact thing. I think, I was looking at, there's always like a bunch of shit that I don't know about that people always like, oh, how do you not know about this thing? Like it's very basic. One of my friends made fun of me a long time ago and said, bro, your brain can only process like complex ideas. Aside from that, you just don't know about a bunch of regular basic shit that just people know, just common things.
Yeah.
And so you are aware of Maslow's hierarchy of needs. You know about this?
I do not.
Okay. So this is something I didn't know about. My little sister made fun of me for not knowing about it the other day, because when people say things and I don't know what they are, I'm like, hey, what's that?
Right.
I ask about it. I don't just like act like I know and just sit in the back, you know what I mean? Like, and just be like, I know. It's kind of crazy. I'm like, no, what is that? So, I think he was a writer in his time. This may have been in, I forgot what fucking time this was, a long time ago. It may have been like the 19th century, maybe. I'm probably getting that wrong. But either way, go look it up. Don't get your information here. But it's this hierarchy of needs for the human being. And it starts off with physiological needs. Sleep, air, food, water, like these types of things. Exactly. And then after that, I believe comes some sense of like a security, I believe, comes after that. Like making sure you have shelter. You have things, property.
Weapons. Yeah.
And then after that, I believe comes like the emotion, like you're making sure that you're getting into like self-esteem and things like that. Then after that, we're talking about community in a sense of togetherness, communion with people, like a culture, of feeling as though you're tribal, a part of some sort of, exactly. And I may have those two flipped. It doesn't really matter. But the one after that is self-actualization and making sure that you are now becoming the highest form of yourself possible.
Gotcha.
So it was very well put together. Like when you really think about the things that people need and, the steps that they take to getting there. Yeah, that self-actualization part comes after all of those other things. You can't just jump to that part.
Yeah.
But all of these things are so fulfilling, and it's wonderful getting to talk to more people and realize the things that they're looking for at whatever point in life that they're in. But that level of sense of community and being able to do things for your loved ones and just people outside of that, that's such a fulfilling part of life. I think that it's so paramount to have. I think that it's so much, which is why you say you go out, and then when you meet these new people that just put you up in a house and wherever you're at, like that's huge.
Yeah, it's cool.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
Me doing this podcast and just having new people come in here every week and having these stimulating conversations, it just helps you grow your view, your vision of what the world is.
Yeah.
You're talking to people that you would have, otherwise never spoken to. You and I met at the gym, and this has been another, product of Mikey at work.
Was I coaching the day you came into the gym?
You were, no, you were not coaching. It was another big, swole.
Probably Matt.
Guy, yeah.
Tattoos everywhere.
Yeah, I believe so. It was Matt. And then the day after when I went, it was Blaze.
Okay.
Yeah, so but I do think that you were there. He did say that you were there that day.
Okay.
But you and I hadn't spoken. Yeah, so this is, so I like to think that I am on this self-actualization stage. Like that is really what is at the forefront of my mind when I think about it. To me, it's catering every little bit of my life towards what works for me as an individual, and that helps me now do what I can do for the community and the people by me. It's a great feeling thinking that the people that are connected to you, the people that come across your airspace, they leave enriched. You never want to feel like you're toxic or people are leaving you with bad advice. Well, I don't even really give advice. I've talked about that too. But like bad advice or just bad energy or feeling dejected and drained or anything like that. Yeah. So I love being the person that I've been becoming. I think that that's really awesome. And I think that you've clearly been noticing yourself on that same path. For sure. Pathway. So I'm just excited
for the past 5 years, definitely.
Yeah, I'm excited for all of us.
Yeah.
Shout out to Jocko Willink. Shout out to Jordan B. Peterson for giving out all this wisdom. I think that, men like us, if we just continue to remain open and humble in certain respects and allow information to be given us by people that think things through well. Yeah.
With
humility, I think that this growth just continues. Is there anything at all that you felt like you wanted to talk about in the slightest?
No. I knew you wanted to talk about the outdoor stuff, the new job, but I'm glad we got into.
Oh yeah, have to.
The substance. I don't know if I'd call it substance abuse, but quitting things that weren't good for us.
Yes.
I'm glad we got into that a little bit. We definitely got to get you back in the gym.
Oh, yeah.
I heard Blaze busting your balls. Don't think I'm leaving here without.
That's exactly what Mikey said. Mikey was like, he's probably going to say something like, he's probably going to be like, come fight. You said you wanted to fight, right? I'm in there. Let's go. I'm definitely with that. And that would be the next thing. I'd definitely like to go in there and just see.
I would try jiu-jitsu if I were you, to be honest.
Okay.
Like, you've done CrossFit, you've worked out before, you know what that's all about.
Yeah.
Jiu-jitsu is going to probably blow your fucking mind.
Okay. Yeah, I'm definitely with it. I'm gonna come by and do so on my list now is jiu-jitsu and shooting.
Yes.
So these are two things that I'm gonna have to come do.
Yeah.
Yes. Yeah. With you specifically.
Yeah, and because I've been slacking on jiu-jitsu a little bit, to be honest with you.
Yeah.
I probably haven't done jiu-jitsu in a few months.
Well, yeah, man, you're just pivoting back and forth, going on these trips.
I'm stretching myself a little thin. But if you start doing it, I'll wash my gi and dust it off.
Oh. Got you. Did you get one of Jocko Willink's gis?
I have not bought one of his.
Oh, okay.
I haven't. There's $60 gis on Amazon. I should support.
Should have been on the Christmas list.
I should. I should buy one of his gis. They're American made,
right?
From his Origin USA company.
Yeah, I've heard about it.
I should fucking buy one.
Yeah, from one of these old super archaic looms.
Yeah,
right. That his friend found.
Refurbished and
right.
Yeah, he's definitely making his jeans with those.
So you also said before we get out of here that your wife was excited about you coming here and doing this.
Yeah.
For any particular reason?
Because we're both really into podcasts.
Oh, okay.
And I've always wanted to do this.
And what does she listen to?
She listens to the stuff I listen to. She doesn't really listen to them unless we're in the car together. But she enjoys Jocko. She enjoys Joe Rogan.
It just gets the wheels turning. And then you guys just having conversation about,
I'll pause it sometimes and be like, what'd you think about that? And we'll get off on our own little tangent.
Yeah.
Midway through a podcast.
Yeah, I think it's beautiful. I mean, it's just a new way of documentation. Like you'll have all these episodes of all these conversations. You'll be able to look back and think how you were interacting with things, like how your brain was working at a point in time, when it was a low, when it was a high.
Yeah.
Like, oh, that wasn't a healthy time in my life when I was thinking that. Or yeah.
I look back at, like, you know how your Facebook will show you
memories
shit that you've said 12 years ago. I'm like, oh my fuck, was that me? Did I say that shit?
That's how people get canceled these days. That's exactly what
I
happens.
fucking delete some of the shit sometimes. I'm like, I'm embarrassed of who I was 12 years ago.
As you ought to be. That's great.
Yeah.
That's great. It's the same way when you look back at like old photos of like you as a kid and you're like, who dressed me? Why'd you guys let me out of the house in this?
Yeah. It's fun like finding pictures of your parents like, Dad, those fucking shorts were short, bro. What were you doing?
But that's how you should feel. If you are looking back at yourself from 3 years ago, 5 years ago, 10 years ago, and you just like, hell yeah.
Yeah, I was good.
Like,
good.
I missed that. Like, I should be that again.
I was awesome then. I'm fucking awesome now.
Yeah, like there's clearly, clearly an issue there. So that's dope. But I'm glad that you guys are able to have that sort of, relationship where you guys can listen to some of the, like you have these shared interests and then you guys can go off on these tangents, but then allow you to expand both of you all's understanding of what was said and come closer to some sort of understanding of what's going on and being on the same page between you all.
Yeah.
This is, I don't want to say we're getting out of it, but I'll do this too. So this is another thing I was having a conversation with a friend yesterday is two people in a relationship growing together, I should say, but really growing separately in that people are going to be growing, right? Especially if you're going to be open to new things and having these sort of engaging conversations with people. It's going to slowly tweak the way that you're looking at stuff and sharpen and refine the way that you're looking at the world and engaging with the world, orienting yourself.
Yeah. You've got influence from each other.
Right.
Yeah.
Although there are a lot of people that what it really comes down to was someone was saying to me, and this is something I hear far too often. Sorry if you're some of the people that have told me this. Oh, we never fight. Oh, we never have heated discussions in our relationship. Like, it's just, relationships are just supposed to be easy. I don't even understand why people even have, like, it's clearly just not supposed to work if you guys are having so many heated discussions about things. That is an unsophisticated way of looking at what I believe to be a true and honest relationship.
Yeah.
There's no way, in my mind, someone has to come talk to me about this if I'm not saying things correctly. There's no way that you have a whole complex human being with all the layers and all the forever changing layers within someone paired with another one of those.
Yep.
And there aren't disagreements about the world that you're inhabiting and the way that you're orienting yourself within that world.
Yeah.
In all the various
There's
layers.
zero chance.
Zero chance.
Now, how you discuss those things with the other person is a whole different topic.
Yes.
I feel like when people say shit like that, what they really mean is we're able to respectfully talk about our disagreements. You know what I mean? But I don't think there's anybody, if you're in a relationship where you fucking agree with every other thing, somebody's way too submissive.
1000%. And I think that's a lot of what I observe. I think it's a lot of, well, if what I liken it to is people completely shunning therapy because it's, well, if I go to therapy, then I'm admitting there's something wrong with me, right? Like there's nothing wrong with me. I'm fine. I don't need therapy.
Right.
So,
and are you talking couples therapy or just therapy?
Just therapy in general.
Yeah.
So I think it's the same as, so now if I bring something up that I don't like about what it is you're doing in our relationship, that is an acknowledgement that there is something wrong here. And I don't want to acknowledge there's something wrong here.
Right.
Everything's great. Look at our Instagram. We're happy together. Right. So like that shit is real. People really truly live that way.
Yep.
And so that's just a sweeping it under the rug sort of thing. And simply because you all are not expressing how you feel about things, you are now purporting that there are not problems and that there are not fights and that there are not heated discussions or high stakes conversations. And that's going to end up biting you in the ass much later on. But there's, this sense of security is something I've been thinking about a lot on both sides of the relationship. If I'm growing and I'm growing at an accelerated rate, and this is something that can be saddening for certain people, you dropped alcohol and you, by the grace of whatever is at work, your friends and family were cool with that. Mm-hmm. And so they didn't try to bring you back to a lifestyle that you didn't want any part of, right? That you felt like was toxic for you and your family. Mm-hmm. Some people grow up with other types of friends and family.
For sure.
And they're like, what are you doing?
Right.
Like, you're changing. Like, what are you trying to say, that we're not doing things right? Like, why can't you just like fucking relax? What's going on with you? Oh, you're changing.
Drinking's bad.
You're
we
growing.
Must be bad people.
Yeah. It's like, you're growing.
Yeah.
And so that can sort of cast a shadow on how certain people feel about themselves seeing someone else try to grow.
Yeah.
And if you find yourself around people like that,
I know people like that.
Right. And you don't necessarily want to say something to your counterparts because you know that they're going to be offended by your growth. Mm-hmm. Then now you all are just occupying the same space. You're growing at an accelerated rate because you're open to things that you were, closed off to or didn't know, never occurred to you in the past.
Probably both.
And so that's when you start to see these age-old sayings of, when there is a discussion, now you're looking at a person like, who the fuck even are you? It's like, oh, well, I've actually been over here growing, but we haven't had the constant correspondence that it takes for you to know that I've been growing alongside you this entire time.
Right.
And there's a certain security that has to be there in a relationship. Hey, I'm growing, but I want to make you feel secure in knowing that we can have these discussions and you can be along with my growth. And I can be along for yours as well. Mm-hmm. So that's what I see when you talk about being able to listen to these podcasts and have these mind-blowing discussions with your wife. And that is so much more powerful than I think people give.
For sure.
Heed to or take heed to.
Yeah, I wish people could I try to tell people about podcasts all the time. I'm like, Chris is talking about another fucking podcast. Jesus Christ.
But
it's the best way to convey information nowadays, I think. Without
long form.
Yeah,
long form. Because people have been too inundated with 140 characters on tweets, or maybe longer now, I'm not quite sure, TikToks, things that are just like real quick. And again, just like that quick fix.
Yep.
Like, I just want to get it in 30 seconds. Just give it to me that. Like, I don't, but that's why I think they believe that podcast listeners are a certain type of person.
Right.
Wanting to sit down and listen to something for an hour and a half to 3 hours, like that takes a certain type of thing. But you're hearing something that's real. It's not Late Night with Jimmy Fallon, right, where you just have like these characters, exactly, and people clapping and all this. It's not MSNBC where they have somebody come on and they're talking about extremely complex idea, but you got to do it in the next 10 minutes.
Right?
It's like, what? That's an insane way of trying to
you can't get a message across in that fast in that short amount of time. Nothing meaningful anyway.
Yeah, that's insane, especially when people are just cutting each other off mid-thought the whole time.
Right.
Nothing is being said. Yeah. And so that's something that I've been trying to convey through this podcast is what a real conversation sounds like. Yeah. Because I think that's why that's why the podcast boom sort of happened. I think that there's been a yearning for what a real conversation sounds like. Yeah. And it's not just talking points back and forth or people just cutting each other off. It's like, okay, these people are getting closer to something. That's why we like Jocko Willink and Jordan B. Peterson talking, or Joe Rogan and whomever. But it also doesn't even work that way with super-minded people. I was watching Neil deGrasse Tyson and Joe Rogan have a conversation. I couldn't get through it. It was the most recent one, which I think was like 2 years ago. I couldn't get through it. Neil deGrasse Tyson would not let Joe talk.
He cuts him off
all the whole time. Yeah. And I was like, I don't think that people know that this is not a conversation, because I read the comments and it's like, oh, this is amazing. Like, some people call him out, but then it's it's flooded with,
he's a brilliant dude.
Oh, this is amazing. He's brilliant, which he is. Yeah. But this is a terrible conversation.
Right.
Like, things aren't getting across. There was a point in time where Joe Rogan was telling him that he had gone to some mountaintop with some friends, and they had gone like, I don't know, it was like 14,000 feet in the air or something like that, like above sea level, past the clouds. They were in the car and they were thinking, oh fuck, this is going to suck tonight because like all the clouds are out. And then he realized they drove past the clouds, and then he looked up, and what to him looked like he was in a spaceship in space. Mm-hmm. He was just engulfed in blackness, in stars. He said he had never seen the sky like that before. And the moon he couldn't even see the moon, which supposedly is like the best thing that like an astrophysicist could dream of, because the moon casts too much light and takes things out.
Yeah, you see way less stars.
Right.
Yeah.
And Joe was saying, yo, I that night looking up at the clouds, that changed my entire perception of life. Mm-hmm. As soon as he said that, Neil deGrasse Tyson was like, oh yeah, and by the way, if the moon was out, let me tell you what would have happened. It would have came down and been reflected on the clouds beneath you, and you would have been in a sea of clouds. You would have been in an island of clouds, probably what you would have assumed or fathomed Mount Olympus to look like, where Hercules and Zeus, like that. And I'm listening and I'm thinking,
you missed this whole point.
You don't. This man just sat across from you and told you how this site completely changed his complete, like, just neurochemistry. Mm-hmm. And that doesn't interest you in the slightest. Like, you're just on to telling the next fact that you have.
Yeah. It's like he listens to responds. He doesn't listen to listen. Kind of.
That's a lot of what people believe conversation to be.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So I find it interesting, because I don't know what your constant conversation is like with people, but I do know clearly you have a wife that you have real conversations with. Mm-hmm. So that's awesome. Everybody has to have at least one person they can have real conversation with. I know Vince and Blaze do it. You can tell by the way that they interact that they do this on the regular. Yeah. And I champion that. I love that so much. When people come here and then I'm energized doing this as well, so I get it. But they're just energized in a new way, and they tell me afterwards that this has just been a high of an experience.
Yeah, it's fulfilling.
It's like, oh yeah, like you don't ever do this. Mm-hmm. Like you have been inundated and engulfed by flippant, whimsical, day-to-day, completely just mindless interaction that you think has been conversation, and then you just got thrown into, like Blaze, thrown into the deep end of the pool. Yeah. It was like, oh, this is what this is like. This is pretty. Oh, this is different over here.
Yeah.
So that's kind of what's at the forefront of my mind. That's kind of like my goal here, and I think that we've been doing a pretty good job. I think you and I have done a good job here today.
I want to do it again.
This. No, 1,000. No, you're coming back.
Oh, awesome.
You're 1,000% coming back, especially
after we go shooting. That'll be fun to talk about on the next one.
We're gonna. Yeah, I'm gonna come. I'm gonna roll. Doing
what do you want to shoot?
You said what? Well, you said that
I live pistols. Do you want to shoot rifles?
Oh, I see what you're saying. Because you said we live like an hour away from
elite shooting sports is less than 5 minutes from here.
Oh,
yeah.
Okay, so what do you? And you're more, I would say, professional, but in your more knowledgeable viewpoint, what would you say?
We'll do a pistol and a rifle.
Okay.
We'll do pistol and a rifle.
Yeah, buddy. I'm with that. All right, pistol and a rifle, and then I'll come roll and do some jujitsu, and then we'll come back.
Yep.
And we'll reconvene and we'll talk to the people about our experience.
I gotta pee like a
Yeah, let's do it. All right, everybody. Episode 95. Peace.
When is it being released? When's it coming out?
Sunday, awesome. 8 p.m. on SoundCloud, Spotify, Apple, and then it'll be up on YouTube at least by the next morning, at least by 7 o'clock, 8 o'clock the next morning.
Cool. Awesome,
yeah, buddy. Thank you for coming, my man.
Thanks for having me.
Peace, everybody.